Yeah, we back with another one, man. Now today, I gotta come back. We're gonna talk about the Jacksonville shooting once again. Now, like I told you in my first video, we live in a society where when it comes to media, when it comes to messaging, when it comes to propaganda, we gotta keep it real. White men are judged by their best and their brightest, right? When you think of the average white man, you don't think of some guy living down in the trailer park, chewing tobacco, smoking meth, things like that. What do you think of? You think of the captains of industry. You think of the men that control politics and the economy. That's who pops into your head. And I told you, black people, we live in a society where we are judged by our worst. So you could be a black man that comes from a family who makes $500,000 a year. But when they think of the average black man, they think of somebody in and out of prison. They think of somebody running the streets. They think of somebody shooting a basketball. They think of somebody, in a studio writing a rap. That's who they think of, right? We don't get judged by our best and our brightest. We don't get judged by the black man down at Wall Street. We don't get judged by the black man at the Ivy Leagues. We get judged by the black men down at the motherfucking correctional facility. So we live in a society, like I told you, white men are judged by their best, black men are judged by their worst. Now, with this Jacksonville shooting, I told you, these situations are tricky for black folks because we have a habit, because we are influenced by the society we live in, we tend to also judge white men by their best and judge our own people by their worst. So we always give white folks the benefit of the doubt, right? And I told you that's what's gonna happen. We always gonna give white folks the benefit of the doubt. So I was watching this live stream where they were talking about the Jacksonville shooting, and these black men, as expected, giving white boys the benefit of the doubt. Even one of them had a goddamn MAGA hat on. One of them had a goddamn MAGA hat on. So I'm gonna jump into some of these clips, man, and I'm gonna dissect some of these talking points. Let's jump into it. Run the footage.
Yeah. Here's the thing. This guy, he didn't do any of the self-improvement. I mean, you're 21 years old. The guys that look like him, if you don't have good social skills, then you're done.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like did he try hitting the gym? Did he try getting in shape? I mean, that's the first step to self-improvement.
Yeah. Savage, go ahead, man. You're on mute.
Now, I noticed that a few years ago, the common excuse when things like this would happen, because like I told you, these things happen every year. It's like an annual tradition, right? You're going to get a couple of these every single year. Now, it used to be, mental health, he's mentally ill, it's crazy, it's a lone wolf incident, he's a lone wolf, he's mentally ill. Listen, it's an exception to the rule. They always downplayed it like this, but now I'm seeing it's a different excuse now. Now they're talking about, okay, these dudes are incels, these dudes are, they getting radicalized online on the internet, they getting radicalized because of social media, they getting radicalized because of Fox News, because of the Republicans, the conservatives. It's always a scapegoat. And I told you, it's not none of that shit, man. It's not none of that. It's family tradition. It's family culture. These ideas have been in the family from generation through generation. They get passed down through the family. Just like everybody has their family traditions. Just like everybody has their family beliefs. These things get passed down the family line. It's like family legacy. So these dudes trying to pass it off as, he's mentally ill. He got radicalized off the goddamn social media, as if these ideas did not exist before social media. Man, listen, y'all gotta read, man. Y'all gotta study, man. Y'all gotta be an intellectual black man out here in these streets to understand the world that you live in. Y'all bugging out. You bugging out, bro. With that MAGA head on top of your head, bro. All muscle, no brain. All muscle, no brain. Goddamn. We got too many of these type of guys walking around. All up in the gym, pumping iron, all up on the basketball court, shooting hoops. But intellectually, you can't really measure up, man. Intellectually, you can't really compete. Now, we gotta stop this lie. We gotta stop this lie that says a white man can only be a white supremacist if he's mentally ill, or he can only be a white supremacist if he doesn't get girls. These dudes were on the goddamn live stream talking about the reason why he did what he did is because he didn't get enough women. He didn't get enough attention from women. So if he was getting the coochie, then he wouldn't be racist. The reason why he hated blacks is because he wasn't getting enough women. Oh my God. So that means that there are no white supremacists that are rich, having money, having millions of dollars, driving Lamborghinis, driving Ferraris, having penthouses, having goddamn villas and mansions. So those men can't be white supremacists. If you got money and power, you can't be white supremacists. So white supremacists is only for the lame dudes, the losers, the mentally ill. Is that what you're trying to explain to me? You dudes don't know nothing about history. You do not understand the world that you live in. Now, in this video, I'm going to run down a list of intellectual godfathers as it pertains to white supremacy. Men who have written literature that solidified and promoted white supremacy. And these men were not incels. These men were not losers who couldn't get women. No, these men were high-ranking aristocrats. These men were part of the elites. These men had the equivalent of billions of dollars. They ranked at the top of their society, and they still promoted white supremacy. So let's jump into it, man. You know, I spoke about this guy before. This French gentleman by the name of Arthur de Gobineau. You know, let's take a look at his biography. Arthur de Gobineau was a French aristocrat who is best known for helping legitimize racism by the use of scientific race theory and racial demography, and for developing the theory of the Aryan master race. Known to his contemporaries as a novelist, a diplomat, and a travel writer. So obviously this dude was not no bum who couldn't get girls. Stop. Y'all gotta relax, man. Y'all gotta relax. This man was an elitist. He was an elitist who, in the immediate aftermath of the Revolution of 1848, wrote an essay on the inequality of the human races, in which he argued that aristocrats were superior to commoners and that aristocrats possessed more Aryan genetic traits because of less interbreeding with the quote-unquote inferior races. And if you watch my first video that I dropped on the Jacksonville shooting a few hours ago, I had mentioned the Jacksonville shooter was somebody that I would classify as, you know, an unsophisticated white supremacist, very low on a totem pole, very low on a hierarchy. I compared him to a crash dummy. You know, I said there are different levels of white supremacists. You know, when we talk about the high level politicians, when we talk about international politics, you're dealing with the highly intelligent, sophisticated white supremacists. When you're thinking about these mass shooters, you're thinking of the low level, low on the totem pole, low ranking white supremacists. But these guys want to make the assumption that, oh, if you're a white supremacist, that means you're mentally ill. That means you can't get girls. Bro, stop it, bro. Stop it. You dudes trying to make excuses for what it is. And it's really a shame because on a day where two of our brothers get gunned down, right? Two black men and a black woman. Two of our brothers get gunned down and one of our women get gunned down, and you boys are trying to make excuses for that with a red MAGA hat on top of your head. Man, listen, man. Some of y'all boys is out of pocket, man. Let's continue. Now, I'm going to jump into a few other, historical white supremacists, but I want to spend some time talking about Arthur de Gobineau because he's one of the intellectual godfathers as it relates to this ideology. You know what I mean? When he dropped his book, The Essay on the Inequality of the Human Races, back in the 1800s, man, that had a significant impact on the development of racist and white supremacist thought throughout the 19th century, still up to this day. I told you, he's one of the intellectual godfathers, man. And while it wasn't an immediate bestseller, it gained widespread attention and influence over time, particularly among certain circles, man. Now, while these ideas were already solidified in European society, when he put his book out, he introduced the concept of racial hierarchy, arguing that there were distinct races with inherent differences in abilities and qualities. He contended that the Aryan race was superior to other races and that racial mixing led to a societal decay. These ideas led the intellectual groundwork for later racist theories that came afterwards, man. And also, we got to talk about the cultural and political impact. The ideas that he put in his literature, it was adopted by other, race scientists later down the line. But also, these ideas were used to justify European colonization. These were used to justify the enslavement of our people, right? This literature that was put out by these high-ranking white supremacists. These are what you call high-ranking, sophisticated, intelligent white supremacists, elite white supremacists. And I guarantee these men, they got plenty of women. Yeah, plenty of women of different races too. So stop it. Stop with this. Oh, he didn't get girls. Stop. You dudes is ridiculous. Let's continue. Another legendary white supremacist, Charles Talleyrand. I believe he was the French foreign minister back in the early 1800s. After the Haitian Revolution, he was famous for this quote. He wrote to the U.S. Secretary of State James Madison, and he said, "The existence of a Negro people in arms occupying a country it has soiled by the most criminal acts is a horrible spectacle for all white nations." Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And Thomas Jefferson at that time, I believe he was in office, and he also promoted white supremacy because he supported French interests, and he actually, I believe he was the one that placed an embargo on Haiti, which remained on the country for about, 50, 60 years. In support of France, he put out that policy to promote white supremacy, right? So Thomas Jefferson, we already know, big white supremacist, big legendary white supremacist. You mean to tell me Thomas Jefferson couldn't get women? The big landowner, big rich white supremacist Thomas Jefferson, one of the richest white men in the United States during that time, he couldn't get women? Man, y'all gotta stop, bro. I'm telling you, if you think just because a white man is clean cut, just because he got money, just because he got a big vocabulary, that means he can't be a stone cold white supremacist, you're naive. You're naive, bro. When you think of a white supremacist, it's not only the goddamn hillbillies and the goddamn Trump supporters living in bumblefuck, podunk. No, there's white supremacists that are multimillionaires, billionaires, up in politics, up in the high circles, up in the high powerful circles, and they're equally as white supremacists just as the dudes down in the goddamn hillbilly towns. But you think just because he got on a nice suit, just because he got on a YSL suit, he can't be a white supremacist. Oh, he got some YSL shoes on, he can't be a white supremacist. Oh man, he rocking Gucci. Oh man, he driving a Lamborghini, he can't be a white supremacist. You dudes are naive, very naive. Let's continue. Next up on the list, we got Madison Grant. Take a look up on the screen. Madison Grant was an American lawyer, zoologist, anthropologist, and a writer, known for his work as a conservationist, a eugenicist, and an advocate for scientific racism. Grant is less noted for his far-reaching achievements in conservation than for his advocacy of Nordicism, a form of racism which views the Nordic race as superior. As a white supremacist eugenicist, Grant was the author of The Passing of the Great Race, one of the most famous racist texts, and played an active role in crafting immigration restriction and anti-miscegenation laws in the United States. So you mean to tell me this man is not a white supremacist just because he's an intellectual, just because he got money, just because he got a nice suit? I'm sure he got the women back in his day, so he can't be a white supremacist? Man, you boys naive, man. You boys naive, man. You boys are naive. Really naive. Next up on the list, we got Lothrop Stoddard. Take a look up on the screen. Theodore Lothrop Stoddard was an American historian, journalist, political scientist, and a white nationalist. Stoddard wrote several books which advocated eugenics, white supremacy, and scientific racism, including The Rising Tide of Color Against White World Supremacy. He advocated a racial hierarchy, which he believed needed to be preserved through anti-miscegenation laws. Stoddard's books were once widely read both inside and outside of the United States. He was a member of the Ku Klux Klan, where his books were recommended reading. Now, I could go on and on and on and on and on. I could go on and on and on and on and on. You see, black folks, we are under this illusion that men like this have disappeared, right? After Martin Luther King, these men just vanished into the wind and they didn't have kids and their ideology doesn't exist anymore. These are the intellectual godfathers of the men that you see carrying out these mass shootings on the day-to-day. You see, these are the intellectual godfathers of white supremacy, right? They put it into literature and disseminated it across the world to solidify these ideas in the minds of the people. These ideas that still live on today, that still get passed down still to this day. You wonder where these ideologies came from. They did not come from thin air. They were written down by intellectual men, intellectual elite white supremacists, okay? And you guys think just because the image you have of the white supremacist in your mind is some hillbilly living in a trailer park chewing tobacco and going to NASCAR races. That's not the white supremacist. The white supremacist, when I think of a white supremacist, I think of goddamn, Anthony Blinken. I think of goddamn Emmanuel Macron. I think of these high-ranking Western diplomats. That's a white supremacist. That's a sophisticated white supremacist. This guy right here, this mass shooter, he's an unsophisticated white supremacist. But these guys are so naive, man. Naive. You boys are naive, man. Anyways, I'm gonna jump back into the live stream. A brother came up on the goddamn, he came up on the live stream and he decided to check them. Man, listen, he decided to, give him a piece of their mind because, man, y'all was on that live stream talking stupid. Run the footage, I'll be right back.
Show your face.
Can you go into detail as to why you believe that this 21-year-old boy is a Nazi? Go ahead, sir.
Did you read his manifesto?
It hasn't been released yet.
I'm saying, did you read it?
I did not, sir.
Okay, so how are you coming up with all these why are you making excuses for him?
Didn't make excuses.
What excuse did I make for him?
You said he probably is not getting any coochie. He's probably not playing video games all day. You guys said he's not I don't think he was a white supremacist. How do you know this?
So you're telling me that, hold on for a second. Let me get this straight. You're telling me that this kid right here wasn't playing video games. You telling me that this kid got a lot of coochie. That's what you're telling us?
You're just making up.
I'm asking you.
It's even disrespectful to the family of the victims of you even using this situation to make excuses.
King Shenard, are you telling me that this is the face of a kid who got major ass?
What does that have to do with what happened yesterday? What does that have to do with what happened? How do you know all this stuff?
I'm just guessing, sir.
You're guessing. So you're making a mockery of the whole situation that happened. Just
I
to
make
tap
You
no
in.
understand what
mockery.
It's a
profiling is?
conversation. We're speculating as to why
Yes.
he
Okay.
did it.
Why are you speculating? Do you have any proof?
Because it
Do
makes
you-
for interesting
Because you
conversation.
want to tap dance. That's why. You want to kiss white ass.
All right, we back. Now, the gentleman that I got up on the screen, I'm sure many of you, heard about him before, Jefferson Davis, the leader of the Confederacy. And the shooting happened in Florida, which, as many of you know, was one of the Confederate states. And Jefferson Davis, another one of these legendary elite white supremacists, not one of these low-level white supremacists, another one of these elite white supremacists, right? As you already know, the type of policies that he advanced, the type of shit that he promoted, the defense of slavery. The Confederate States, the reason why they wanted to, break away is because they wanted to maintain the institution of slavery. They felt that slavery was actually a positive institution on society, and they felt that not only was it positive, but it was a fundamental part of life, right? So, these are what you call the elite white supremacists. He also supported the Fugitive Slave Act, right, which required the return of escaped slaves to their owners, even in states where slavery was illegal. He promoted a racial hierarchy similar to the men that I mentioned before. He believed in the inherent superiority of the white race and the inferiority of the black race. That is what Jefferson Davis believed, right? And like I told you, he was a big, rich, landowning white man, big elite white man. He wasn't having trouble with the ladies like these clowns want to suggest, right? He also promoted white militias. The Confederate government encouraged the formation of armed white militias to allegedly suppress slave revolts, but really they just engaged in wanton violence against black people, similar to this white dude down in Jacksonville, just randomly just attacking black folks, man. And like I said in the previous video, this dude right here, he's probably just a descendant of the Confederacy, man, a son of the Confederacy. You think that culture of the Confederate States, it just died away, and those people didn't have kids, and those kids didn't have kids, and their kids didn't have kids, and those kids are not walking amongst us still right now? So the descendants of Jefferson Davis are not walking amongst us? The followers of Jefferson Davis, their children are not walking amongst us? That culture and ideology is not still amongst us? You are naive. A lot of our people are very naive, man. Very naive. They want to give white folks the benefit of the doubt. They haven't studied enough. They haven't read enough. You're not intellectual enough. Listen, man. Y'all gotta relax, man. Rest in peace to the victims, man. Rest in peace to everybody. Condolences to the victims and their families. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Anyways, it's your boy Neferkari the Saline back in the building. Yes, indeed. Cash App up on the screen, and I'm gone. Peace.
Reincarnated, I'm back in original fashion. I left on a horse and came back in the ass, and I left with abundance and came back to famine. We used to be pyramids, now we be rapping. Look how the mighty have fallen. Used to be running, now we be walking. When you be cooning, that's when they applauded. Selling your soul, your sons and your daughter. Gotta come up in this shit, they stuck in the mix. Really, my heart it be breaking. That's why I'm stacking that paper and handle my business. Pass it down in generation. Talking about money and power and building a nation. That's a deadly combination. Never be watching the TV, they pushing agendas, falsifying information. Know they got malice intentions. Step in the room and I'm feeling the tension. Enemy watching, he blocking my vision. Pay for the check cause I need my redemption. Building my kingdom, I need it protected. Ready for war like a young Money Congo. Never decided the team is the motto. Up in the crib and I'm whipping up waffles. Up in the crib and I'm smoking gelato. I'm chilling, I'm taking my pain and make it ambition. I'm blessed by the gods, but I ain't religious. I came for the power, they came for the bitch. They making no hourly wage. I got business, this shit is an art, and they could never be taught. Selling my soul, I can never be bought. Play with my money, I see you ain't caught. Run to the check and I do it for sport. Babylon falling, I go to the source. Packing my luggage and go overseas. Shorty be with me and she so at least. Shorty be chocolate, I'm calling her Hershey. Secret intelligence probably gon' murk me. Don't fuck with brands, cause nigga I'm Haitian. Say the wrong shit and you're smacking their faces.